Yo, 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 what's the dealio, man? What's up, YouTube? Hey, check it out, man. We got a banger live today. So if you just tuning in, man, say what up, say what up. All right. If you just tuning in, man, say what's up in the comments. Be sure to like this video. All right. We gonna talk about some good stuff today. So I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is great. I hope y'all had a great day so far. I hope everybody killed it in the market today. And yeah. What up, Charlie? What up, Best Beezy? How did the day? Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good day, a relaxing day, for sure. What's up, Marley? Marley. What's the dealio? What's the dealio, man? If you just hopping in, man, say what's up. Join not the Discord. Well, join the Discord too, but let me know where you tuning in from in the chat, and also be sure to like this video, okay? Let's make sure we get this video to 100 likes, all right? We got some good stuff today. What's up, QTZ? The stock market killer. All right, the stock market killer. So in this video, man, I want to talk about building up trust and confidence in the market, as a trader, right? That's the first thing I want to talk about, and we're going to go deep in this, right? We're going to go into trust, and we're going to go into confidence, like, as a trader, because oftentimes it's very easy to get caught up in, like, not trusting yourself. And that's something that I've done, right? That's something that I've done. And you gotta figure out how do you troubleshoot this, okay? So if you just tuning in, man, say what's up in the chat. Let me know where you tuning in from, and be sure to like this video, all right? That's all I ask, is like this video so we could get this video to 100 likes and we could get as many people to see this video, all right? So I don't want to waste y'all time, man. We're going to get started. And then everybody who climbs in, they just going to climb in, all right? So let's check this out. The place that I want to start this at, is when we talking about trust and confidence. I want you to understand something, though, right? I want you to understand this. I want you to understand that your life is always going to be a reflection of your trading. I know people say that, but it's so real, right? So with everything that I say, I want you to assess that. And then also, I want you to understand that, it's not about the strategy, right? Everybody is looking for the strategy. But the strategy don't matter if you don't trust yourself to execute on the strategy. You get what I'm saying? So I really wanna preface it with that, right? So the first thing that I want you guys to understand is, and how I want to kick this off, is this word, right? This word boundary, okay? Increasing your trust and your confidence. Boundaries, right? So when you are trading, you have to learn how to have boundaries with the market, okay? You have to learn how to have boundaries with the stock market. So let's dive into and let's assess boundaries, okay? What's up, Kent? How you doing? If you're just tuning in, man, like this video, all right? So boundaries. Now let's explore this word real quick. I don't care if you in a relationship, you're married, right? Friendships, you and your brothers, your sisters, whatever. You have to have a level of boundaries, right? And I know that that's hard. That's very hard. When you may be dealing with people you care about, you love, whatever, right? But boundaries. Hear what I'm saying? So if you don't have boundaries with the world, if you don't have boundaries with how people should interact with you, if you don't know how to say, hey, this is how you interact with me, you're not going to be able to effectively trade in the stock market, okay? Because let me tell you what happens. You become too flimsy, right? If you become too flimsy in real life, you're going to be flimsy in the market. Now, let me break that down. You got somebody in your life, right? You got somebody in your life, and they do something that you don't like based on your boundary. Maybe it triggers you, right? Whatever the case is. If you continue to let that slide, all that's going to happen is when you're trading is you're going to let everything else slide. You see what I'm saying? So when we talking about building up this trust within yourself and this confidence, you got to understand, you got to have boundaries. We could talk about a watch list. We could talk about what stocks to do this and that and blah, 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 right? But a foundation of being able to execute is understanding what your boundaries are. Boundaries. All right, if that makes sense, let me know, right? If that makes sense, let me know. If you're just tuning in, man, say what's up, like this video. Let me know where you're tuning in from, all right? We're talking about how to build the trust and confidence as a trader, right? We got some other stuff I want to talk about too, but I'm starting this off because I want you to understand that boundaries is the foundation of trust and confidence. All right? Boundaries is the foundation of trust and confidence. Best be said, they'll walk all over you. Exactly. So think about it. If you have no boundaries, other people will walk all over you, right? Therefore, if you have no boundaries in the stock market, the market is going to walk all over you. You see what I'm saying? So I want you to understand that, right? I want you to understand that. So boundaries, that's the foundation of all this stuff that I'm talking about. So I want you to assess your life, your relationships, everything. And I want you to ask yourself, how often do I bend on my boundaries? I know it's, you got people in your life you love and you want to make them happy and you want to be there for them and stuff like that. But I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, right? Your wife, right? Healthy relationships have boundaries. So you got to build a healthy relationship with trading. You got to build a healthy relationship with yourself as a trader, right? You got to do that. You got to build a healthy relationship with yourself as a trader, and that starts with boundaries. All right, what's up, Shawtown G? What up, Ali? What's up from Memphis? Okay. All right. So boom, right? So that's boundaries. Some may call it rules. All right, we just getting started. I want you to know that. I just wanted to start it with that. Okay? So boundaries, you got to have boundaries in your life. So if you are finding yourself not where you want to be with trading, I want you to start asking yourself, what boundaries do I have or what boundaries do I not have in my personal life with me, with my relationships, with the people in my life? Okay? I'm spending some time on this on purpose because this is extremely important. I don't care about a bull flag. I don't care about a break and a retest. Boundaries, right? Within yourself and within the people in your life and the relationships that you have. Your work relationships. Don't let people at work talk to you crazy. Have boundaries with that, right? Like, have boundaries, have rules, and have standards of excellence within yourself that you got to operate on. If you don't honor your boundaries, you're not going to have trust within yourself as a trader, and you're not going to have increased confidence as a trader. All right? So boundaries / rules and standards of excellence. You could also call it rules of engagement. When I was in the military, we had something called ROEs, rules of engagement, right? And when we go to a different country, when I was deployed, we would have rules of engagement, right? And what these rules of engagement were these are the rules of how you engage with the citizens and the local nationals of this country, right? That is called rules of engagement. And so you want to have those rules of engagement within yourself, within your life, right? You got to treat that as if you got to treat yourself and how you moving and how you operating as if like you are your own country, right? And there are certain rules that have to happen in order for people to live in that country, so to speak, right? That's how it got to be. Okay? So standards of excellence, personal standards, your personal boundaries. If you want to build trust within yourself, if you want to build confidence within yourself as a trader, and you want to become a better trader, it starts with these boundaries and this foundational understanding of like, okay, what rules am I setting for myself and for others? All right. So I just wanted to start it with that. All right. If you just tuning in, man, say what's up, drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and be sure to like this video. All right. So now I got a list of some things, that is going to help you build your trust and build your confidence, right? And this stuff is important, right? And the reason why it's important is because this is me. I'm talking from a place where I used to not trust my trades, right? Shali has seen me call out trades, not take them. I'm not even talking about on a Discord. She has seen me call out. I tell her, hey, this stock gonna do this. I don't take the trade, and then it does it, right? She has seen me do that time and time again. When I started really learning it and really understanding it and really obsessing over it, she has seen me do that. And so I got to a place where I was like, damn, why am I not taking the trades, but I'm watching the plays happen? Right? Have you ever called a play for yourself, not taking the trade, and it did exactly what you said it was going to do, and you missed out on the money? If you have missed out on the trade that you called and you knew what it was going to do, drop that in the comments. If you have ever missed out on a trade that you knew what it was going to do because you analyzed it and you missed out on it, drop it in the comments, because we're going to go deep into that. All right? I have done that. I've done that quite a few times. And the reason why is because I had low confidence and I had low trust in myself and my abilities. Right? And so we're going to go deep on that and we're going to unpack that. All right? So the reason why that was happening for me is because certain things had happened previously that I was allowing to affect my mental, and I wasn't executing at the level that I knew I could be executing at. See, a lot of times when you're not winning as a trader and you know what you need to do, a lot of times it's really just your psychology is faulty, and you may be operating out of fear, or you may be operating out of something else, right? But you got to get to the bottom of it, right? So it's like, what we going to do today is we going to be champions, okay? We going to be champions, and we going to lock in on being a winner, okay? So, Gerald said, I'm guilty multiple times, for sure. Sean said, yeah. Ken said, yeah. QT said, yep. Ali said, yep, plenty of times. Okay, so yeah, I've been there too, right? I'm not exempt from none of this. But after me reflecting on these things, I'm like, okay, I understand why. Right? So check this out. So the first thing, right? I got a list right here on the iPad, right? Cold feet, not trusting myself. Okay. So I got trust and confidence And these things are going to help you with trust and confidence, all right? First thing is going to be mental reps, right? Your mental reps. Now, depending on where you at in your journey, you're going to have to take mental reps, right? Let's say your account is small. Let's say you out of buying power. Go take the mental reps. When I first started, if I wasn't fully sure or I was feeling a lack of confidence or a lack of trust in myself, I would just tell myself, okay, this is a mental rep. I'm going to watch this play. I'm going to tell myself when I would have got in, when I would have got out, and I'm going to see if this pans out the way that I do, that I think it will. Okay? That's a mental rep. So I have taken hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mental reps at this point, right? It's been times where I didn't had dreams about the charts, like legit, like a lot of times, especially when I was like the beginning of the journey, I would literally have dreams about the charts. I would go to sleep and I would be thinking about like a trade. And when I'm done with my trading day, I may still have buying power, but I'm trying to discipline myself. And I'm like, all right, let me take 3 mental reps today. Let me go find these setups and let me take these mental reps. Okay? So that's the first thing to build that trust and that confidence within yourself is you got to learn how to take mental reps. And I still do it to this day because it's not about taking 1 million trades a day, right? It's about exercising your brain because I don't know if you understand, but when you trade, your brain is operating at a very, very, very high level. When you are trading, your brain is at a very, very, very high level. And don't let you be having to do multiple things around the house. It get crazy. When I'm in a trade, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to focus on nothing, right? Because I'm locked in. Because there's so many things going on in my mind and on the charts all at once. Okay? So that's what you got to understand. So those mental reps, that's the first way that you're going to increase your confidence and your trust as a trader. All right? If you just tuning on, man, say what's up, like this video, and drop in the comments where you tuning in from, all right? We going deep on how to increase and work on your trust and your confidence within yourself as a trader, all right? And ultimately, this is going to make you a better person, all right? So be sure that you stay on and you tapped in, all right? Like, don't take this stuff lightly. Do not take this stuff lightly, all right? So, need time to gain exposure. I did that on AMD, a swing. I don't know if you remember, but I was going to do a call when it was at 73 and it's at 118 now. Yep. I've done that so many times. It's not even funny. So, yeah, I feel you. Sean, that's what I'm doing now. There you go. Miss Virgo said I've been doing that all week. There we go. Absolutely. Okay, so the next thing, right? The next thing that's going to help you increase your trust and your confidence within yourself is, it's not the most popular thing, but you need to feel the pain of your missed wins. Hear what I'm saying? You need to feel the pain of your missed wins. Right? Does that make sense? I'm going to say it one more time. You need to feel the pain of your missed wins. All right? So let's go back to the mental reps. Right? You get in a trade or you don't get in a trade, you just boom and you see it, and then you know you could have made $500, you could have made $800. But that's a mental rep. But what about what happens when you miss your entry? What happens when you intend to take a trade, you miss your entry because you was stuttering, You was scared. You don't get in your entry. And then what happens? It goes crazy. Or what happens when you get out early, you take a 3% loss or a 10% loss, and then the stock goes crazy in your direction, and instead of being down negative 10%, you could have been up 50%. And you like, dang. You like, dang, man. I'm telling y'all, I've been there. But watch this. Going through that, it increases your trust within yourself, and it increases your confidence, because that's not going to keep happening. You're going to be like, nah, yo, next time I'm staying in the trade. Next time I ain't going to be scared. Next time I'm going to do this. Next time I'm going to take that entry. So when you understand that you have to feel the pain of your missed losses, your missed gains, that's when your life get taken to the next level. That is when you start to make more money as a trader. You have to feel the pain of your missed wins. If that makes sense, man, let me know in the comments, for real. If you've been there before, let me know in the comments. Be sure to like this video, y'all. All right? Yeah, that pain is real. I've been there. Right? People in the Discord saw me last month. I was in a Google put. This is one of the ones I ain't gonna forget. I was in a Google put. I had like 8 contracts, right? I was down like 8%. Nothing crazy, 8-10%. And then it was right at the 50 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 9 EMA. I was already in the trade for like 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, man, this play ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna just cut this, I'm gonna get out. The next candle, that joint went down like $5. And the stock, Google ended up being down that day 12%. It was like $11, $12, $13 on the day. I could have made like 4K on that one trade. I had to feel the pain of that. I had to feel the pain of that. I don't care what level you at, you gonna feel that, right? But that increases your trust within yourself as a trader. That increases your confidence as a trader. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand this game right here. So you gotta learn how to feel the pain of your missed wins if you wanna increase your trust and you wanna increase your confidence within yourself as a trader. Real talk. Real talk, all right? We gonna go in. I got some good stuff for y'all, all right? So be sure to stay on this live, man. We cooking. We just getting started. We just getting started. QT said I felt that today. Been there a lot on Murder. Been there. Happened to me yesterday. Didn't want to turn a scalp into a day trade though. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next one. All right. Let's go to the next one. If you just tuning in, man, say what's up in the comments. Let me know what's up. Let me know where you tuning in from. All right. And be sure to like this video. All right. What's up, Sunshine? Sunshine chick. All right. So, and be sure if you're not, be sure to join the Discord. All right. We've been calling some bangers. It's been a great start to the month. It's been a great start to the month. We just getting started. All right. It's only the 4th of the month. So the next thing that's going to help you build trust within yourself and confidence as a trader is you have to feel the feelings and go through the range of emotions. All right. You got to feel the feelings and go through the range of emotions. I'm going to break this down. All right. I'm going to break this down. Best B said, cook it up. Yeah, we cooking today. I'm just getting started. I promise y'all. I'm just getting warmed up. I'm in a layup line right now. Right. Chicago, okay. Chicago in the house. What up, Black Rose? So check it out. You got to feel the feelings and go through the range of emotions, all right? So here's something that I've learned. So watch this. When I started really like fine tuning my craft on the day trading side, on the swing trading side, I started to realize that I can't cower out of trades. If I want to be great, if I want to be elite, I cannot cower out of trades and get out just because I'm scared. I have to have a real reason for getting out, the same way I got to have a real reason for getting in. I hope that you hear what I'm saying right now, because that right there is extremely powerful. Don't just get out of a trade to get out. The same way you wouldn't get in a trade just to get in, right? So it's like you have to be able to feel the whole spectrum of the feelings. You have to see a trade through until the end. And don't just get out just because. Have a reason for why you got out. It hit your stop loss. It broke structure, right? But don't just get out because you like, man, I don't care. That is how you guarantee unprofitability. Because if you just get out, oh, I'm only down 3%, I'm going to just get out. I don't like this play. That's a reflection of your character and your habits that you have in your life. All right? And this goes back to being a good decision maker. If you make good decisions, you ain't going to just get out of a trade just because. The only reason you going to get out of a trade is because it did something that went against your what? Your boundaries, your rules of engagement, your standard of excellence, right? Like, hear what I'm saying right now. Hear what I'm saying. So you have to learn how to stay in a trade long enough so you can learn. Hear what I'm saying. You have to learn how to stay in a trade long enough so you can start to learn. Because let me tell you what happens. If you are always getting out of trades because you're scared, you're getting scared out of the trade, what's going to happen is you ain't never going to be an elite trader, because you're not going to know how to get from point A to point Z. You're not. You're going to know how to enter a trade, but it's going to stop right there. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be that person. What you want to do is you want to be the person that knows how to enter a trade, how to have rationale for entering a trade, how to manage a trade, right? And then also know when to get out of a trade, whether the trade went bad or whether it went in your favor. You got to know the whole range of emotions. And so if you just get out of trades because you're scared, you are not breaking through your barrier. And that's why, no lie, sometimes I've been in certain trades and I was down 20%, could have got out. But I was like, I'm going to hold this. I could lose $1,500, and I'm willing to lose that amount because I need to see this one through. I need to feel all of this. Let me tell you something. If you don't allow yourself to feel all of it, you ain't going to get the results of all of it. I'm going to say it again. If you don't allow yourself to feel the feelings of all of it, you ain't going to get the results of all of it. So if you only allow yourself to feel the emotions of getting in a trade and exiting a trade because you're afraid, those are the only type of results you're going to get. But when you start to learn how to get in a trade and stay in a trade, you may be down 20%. Yeah, it may be uncomfortable. But if you learn how to stay through it, that's going to teach you when it's time to get out and when it's time to stay in. This stuff is powerful and it's life changing because these revelations have changed my life and they've changed my trading. They've changed my trading. I'm telling you, this is a fact. These have changed my trading. Hear what I'm saying. So you have to surrender to your feelings and emotions. There's going to be times you're going to lose $1,000. But the lessons that you learn when you lose that $1,000 is going to help you make $100,000. Listen to what I'm saying. You may lose $1,000, but the lessons that you learn from that $1,000 L is going to help you make $100,000. So let me ask you a question. Would you go pay $1,000 so that you can go make $100,000? I'll do that any day of the week because that is 100x return on my money. It is called tuition. Hear what I am saying, y'all. Hear what I'm saying. This is real life. All right? These are the keys. All right? What's up, Chewy? What up, Mason? Hey, y'all, if y'all just tuning in, man, let me know where y'all tuning in from. Don't be a stranger, all right? Do not be a stranger. Drop it in the comments where you tuning in from. And also, be sure to like this video, all right? Don't be stingy with them likes, all right? I read Best Losers Win by Tom Hugger very recently, and that book completely changed my whole mindset on trading. We've been seeing it, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to you, Mason. Like, you've been growing for sure. And that's one thing I like about this Discord is I get to see people come in and wherever they at, and then I get to see their evolution, you know? So I saw Mason take some L's. He took some big L's, but he took it on the chin. He ain't cower. He ain't give up. He ain't run away. He ain't quit. He showed up, right? He felt the feelings, and now he back like he never left. You know what I'm saying? So salute to you, Mason, for sure. All right? So feel the feelings and go through the emotions, right? You got to learn how to go through all of those emotions, and you got to learn how to manage all of that. All right? So the next one, and this kind of ties into what I was saying, but you have to embrace the losses, right? And we've said this before, we've heard this a million times, so I ain't gonna spend too much time on it, but I really want you to understand that you are not the only one who has taken losses, okay? Listen to what I'm talking to you right now, okay? Listen, we're gonna have a little moment real quick. You are not the only one who is taking losses. So listen to what I'm saying. I know sometimes my delivery be harsh. Sometimes it seems like I'm yelling, but I have good intentions with all of this stuff that I'm saying. You are not alone, okay? You are not alone. Put it in the comments. I want you to say, I am not alone. I want you to decree that. I am not alone. Put that in the comments. I am not alone. Because when you take a loss, you feel like nobody understands. But I want you to understand, for every loss that you take, is somebody out there that has taken a 10x bigger loss than you. And that perspective right there could center you and it could ground you. So I want you to know you are not alone, okay? You're going to take losses, but you have to embrace the losses. Every time you lose a little bit of money, I need you to understand that 5 times the amount of money that you lost is on its way to you. Okay? I want you to understand that. So start thinking about it like this. Anytime you take a loss, I want you to tell yourself, I got 5x this loss coming back to me. So you lose $500, you got $2,500 on the way. You lose $300, you got $1,500 on the way. You lose $1,500, you got $7,500 on the way. That's how you got to think about it. That is how you have to think about it. I'm so serious about this. You got to trick your mind, and I hope you hearing what I'm saying. I hope you understanding what I'm saying, and I hope you really taking this to the heart right now. For every loss that you take, you got 5x that amount on the way to you. But the only way that's going to happen is if you believe it. The only way it's going to happen is if you believe it. Right? The only way it happens is if you believe it. Okay? So anytime you take an L, I don't care if the L is $1 or if the L is $1,000 or if it's $5,000. For every loss you take, you got 5x that amount coming back to you. You know why it's coming back to you? Let me tell you why. It's coming back to you because that loss you just took is no different from paying for a lesson that you can use for the rest of your life. So make sure that your losses are coming with lessons, so that way you can always have that little piece of wisdom in your mind, and you can use that in your mind for the rest of your life. So that's how we turn losses into wins. That's how we turn losses into wins, y'all. I'm telling you, you have to trick your mind sometimes. In order to win, you got to be mentally crazy in certain ways and aspects. You got to think different. That's why a lot of times when I do take L's, if it's a big L and it's bigger than my average L, I'll be mad at myself for a minute, right? But then I'll be like, all right, it is what it is, right? You shake it off and you just get better. You be like, all right, that ain't gonna happen again. And this is what we call refinement, 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 right? So now I'm at a point where my losses aren't that big no more because I created a system to protect myself from losing big. So if I take a big L now, I'm just doing some dumb shit, or I'm just being careless at this point, right? But I need you to understand you're not alone. So stop acting like you're the only person in the world who traded options and took an L. You're not. You are not alone. All right? I need you to understand that. Right? Mindset over everything. Yep. Words are power for manifestation. 1,000,000%. Pam said, I'm claiming that. There we go. Yeah, claim that. Learn how to claim these things over your life. The good things, the positive things, the optimistic things, the progressive things. Claim it over your life, right? You're not alone, trees. You need L's to grow. You do, Mason, right? It's no failure. It's only feedback. Exactly, right? Like, stop looking at this stuff like failure, okay? So you got to embrace them losses. The next one, the next thing, right, that's going to help you with building your trust and building your confidence, all right? Before I say that, if you are on here and you just tuned in, man, be sure to drop something in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from and like this video, all right? Like this video. If you have not, like this video, all right? I'm giving you guys literally keys to unlock your greatness, all right? So let me help you unlock your greatness by liking this video, all right? So the next thing is go lighter, okay? Go lighter in your position sizes and or have a starter position size, okay? So let me break this down for you. If your P&L, your account has taken a L, what I want you to do is I want you to get back to the basics. I want you to get back to one contract if you haven't already. One contract. I don't care. I don't care how big. I don't care if your account is at 30,000. If you was at 40,000 and you lost 10K, I want you to trade one contract. Okay? I want you to get back to the basics. I want you to size down. And when you size down, it's going to give you breathing room. You're going to feel more comfortable, right? And then the more that you do that over time, you're going to get your trust and your confidence back. And then you can start sizing bigger again, right? Or if you're used to, let's say you're used to investing, let's say you usually invest 2,000 in a trade, right? Let's say your average size is 2,000. Okay? So when you get into a trade, instead of investing the whole 2,000 immediately, just go put 300 in a trade, right? I call this a starter position. That way, let's say the play goes super south, the opposite way of what you was expecting. And let's say you got to take a L, a 50% L. 50% of 300 is only $150. But if you would have put your whole size immediately, you would have been at negative $1,000 at 50%, right? And then if you put in the 300 and you see that the stock is starting to go in your direction and you get a confirmation, that's when you can add the rest of your position size and it can go in your direction. But have a starter position. If you usually do 3 contracts, start with 1 and then add 2. If you usually do 6 contracts, start with 2 and then add 4. Right? This right here will revolutionize your trading and your profits. I can guarantee you that you will lose less money by doing it this way. I can almost guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. Because if you only invest 10 to 15% of your initial position size and you have a higher drawdown than what you would like, what happens is you can say, you know what, I'm going to add to this position. So let's say you down 30% on a trade, but you only got 2 contracts, let's say. And each contract is $150. That's $300, right? All right. Now you add 5 contracts onto your 2. So now you got 7. And that negative 30% drops down to negative 15%. And now all you need for the stock is to go up a little bit for you to even break even. Right? There's ways to do it, but start smaller. Right? Mason said, this is exactly what he talks about in Best Losers Win. Don't add to a loser, add to a winner. Yeah, exactly. Do not add to a loser, right? Now, there is something called averaging in, but it really does just depend, you know, but I highly recommend that right there. All right. So before I go to these other ones, that's going to help you with your trust and with your confidence. What I do want to say is, if you are not, right, be sure to join the Discord. All right. We live trade every single day and we share swing trades, right? And like long-term stocks that we are, looking into as well. But we want to help you guys build wealth through learning how to trade so that you could take those profits and fund your portfolios. All right. And right now you could get a 7-day free trial on the Discord. So you could get in for 7 days straight for free. You could go make whatever plays we call, you can make the money. And then if you're happy, you could stay. If you're not happy, you could leave. All right. So be sure to join the Discord, get a 7-day free trial. All right. So we're gonna keep cooking. I got some more to share. All right, but I did want to say that. All right. So if you do want to join the Discord and get that free trial, that 7-day trial, click that link right there in the comments. All right. So the next thing, this one is big right here. All right. This one is big right here. Only trade setups that you understand. I'm going to say it again. Only trade setups that you understand. What do I mean? If you are brand new to trading, come in the Discord, you could take our trades, right? But if you are trading by yourself, but you're not profitable, but you understand setups, or you understand what your setups are, whatever. Only trade setups that you understand. All right? This goes back to, what do they say about investing? Only invest in things that you understand. When you place a trade, you're investing into a contract, right? Depending on however amount of time it is. So don't invest into a trade. Don't leverage amount of money into a trade on a setup that you don't understand. If you don't understand what your entry should be, don't get in. If you don't understand if this is a day trade, a scalp trade, or a swing trade based on your setups, don't get in. Right? I always say the more you study, the less you worry, right? The more you study, the less you worry. I always say that. Why do I always say that? Because when you don't study, you're always worried. Right? Because you haven't put the work in to study the thing. But when you study, you're not worried. Because you are confident in your skill set and what you have learned. Think about it. Think about it. Right? Just think about it real quick. If anything in life, I want you to think about something that you are the most ignorant about. And this is not a negative thing. We're all ignorant in certain aspects of life. I want you to think about something that you're ignorant about. Not stupid, but ignorant, right? I want you to think about something you're ignorant about, and I want you to think something that you're confident about, okay? Now, the thing that you're ignorant about, I want you to think about how much you study that. And the thing that you're very confident about, I want you to think about how much you study that. And this is exactly what I mean when I say the more you study, the less you worry. The thing that you're ignorant about, if you studied more about that thing, you wouldn't feel as ignorant about the thing because you studied more and you have more confidence, right? So I want you guys to understand, the more you study, the less you worry, okay? So you only want to trade setups that you understand. If you don't understand it, then don't trade it yet. Okay? It's simple as that. If you don't understand it yet, don't trade it yet. Because here's what happens. Here's what happens. You get into the trade, and because you don't understand the trade, you like, when do I get out? When do I get in? Should I add? Should I not? Right? Tell me if this sounds familiar. That's why I say don't trade a setup that you don't understand. Because you're not going to know how to manage that trade. Only trade setups you understand. And so in the beginning, you may only want to start with one. And over time, you start to, build up your bag and your toolkit. But you want to only trade setups you understand. And the way that you know you understand it is, if you had a kid and they was in the 5th grade, could you explain your entry and your exit to your 5th grader? That's how I think about it. Feel what I'm saying? King Corey said, I learned a paper trade, new strategies before I risk any real money. Exactly. Hey, listen. Either paper trade or take a, one contract per setup to see if it works. And you want to test it over time. This is just like a business. This is just like marketing. You got to test marketing strategies before you put a whole bunch of money into your marketing. You want to start small, test out the strategy, and then you want to add to it. All right. What up, RJ? Best Beezy, I get it. I'm not a mechanic, but I could build a house. Exactly, right? And you're confident with being able to build a house because that's where you've been in, right? That's the world that you've been in. You see what I'm saying? But being a mechanic, you may not be as confident in that. You may be able to do an oil change and, simple stuff like that. But when we're talking about the pistons and the engine block, you may not fully know, right? And so when you understand it from that perspective, the game gets a lot clearer for you. All right, so only trade setups you understand. Only invest into asset classes that you understand, right? Don't do things ignorantly or blindly, right? And test out the strategies before you go throw a whole bunch of money into the strategy or into the setup. That's a mistake that I made. I'm telling y'all because this is real life. I'm telling y'all real life mistakes. When I started trading, I started with it was like 3K or 4K. That was a mistake. I had money. And because I had money, I was like, shit, 3K sound cool. Right? But don't allow your ego to get in the way. Because if you start with big money, you're going to lose big money too early. If I knew what I knew, no matter how much money I had, I would have started with $1,000. Right? And then if I did lose, I would have understood. I'd be like, oh, okay, now I can add another 500. Right? This is real life. Because what I did was I started with 3-4K. And my first 2 months, I'm having days where I'm making 800, but I'm also having days where I'm losing 1,200. That's happening way too early. Right? So I had to reel it in and really understand what I was doing. Right? That right there is facts. That was my mistake. Listen up. Yeah, y'all. Don't invest too much too early. All right? Like, seriously. Okay? The next thing that's going to help you build your trust and your confidence is going to be, I always say this, the same way that elite successful athletes review their film, you got to review your film too, right? So you want to look in your trade. So I got TradeZella. If you don't have TradeZella, I highly recommend you to get TradeZella. Right? Because if you TradeZella allows you to backtest your trades, it shows you your entry, it shows you your exit on any time frame you want to look at. And then you could put your notes in there and type it in a journal. Right? So it's a hub for all of your data, for your trading data. I remember I went in there and I looked at it. I was like, okay, What's been my average percentage return? And I remember at one point, my average return was only like 6 to 10% per trade, right? And I was like, dang, okay. I wanted to focus on getting bigger returns. So I started to focus on that. And I realized that the strategy that I was using, it wasn't allowing me, it wasn't setting me up to have bigger returns, right? But then I started to understand what was going on. I started working on my entries and the actual strategy I was trading, and now I've doubled my average return per trade, right? So you want to study your game. You want to study your trades. You want to study the game. You got to study your game. If you want your game to get better, you got to study the game. I'm always on my iPad, right? I got my iPad right here, right? I'll be at the house on the couch. I got TradingView right there, right? I'll be at the house on the couch just looking at charts, just looking at my trades. I'll go through my watch list and I'll be like, okay, what was my watch list, right? What was my watch list? What did my watch list say? And then what did the stock do today, right? This is how you get nasty with trading, okay? This is how you get nasty with trading. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to show you guys something, okay? This is what I mean. This is literally this is literally a $10,000 gem I'm about to give you guys. Okay? Watch this. Watch this right here. Okay? This is what I mean when I say back testing, right? Watch this, y'all. So today I called Shopify, right? On my watch list. The support was this, and the resistance was right here, right? Okay. I said I'm looking for a reject around 105.50 to 105.85. Okay? Remember this right here. 105.50 to 105.85. Right? Okay. Now let's go to TradingView. Let's go to TradingView. Let's go to Shopify. Gonna go to Shopify real quick. All right. So remember what I said, right? I said looking for a rejection around 105.50 to 105.85. And we go to Shopify. This is on a 30-minute time frame, right? Let's go to the 15. Now, if you see this level right here, what is this? This is what price does this say right here? This says 105.74. 105.74. It rejected, it came up, it rejected at 105.74. Right? And then it ended up coming all the way down to 103.48 and 102.87. All right? But because I study this stuff, I said I'm looking for a rejection around 105.50 to 105.85, and I was 9 cents off. 9 cents off, right? When this happened, I was in a different play already. But 105.74 is where it rejected off of, and then boom, it came down. All right? That's what I mean when I say you got to study your game. All right? You got to study it. How you gonna win if you're not studying it? You gotta study them charts. You gotta study the charts. All right? You have to study the charts. You have to study your trades. You have to study your strategy. You have to study it. And the more you study, the less you're gonna worry. The more you study, the less you're gonna worry. I'm telling you, I can't make this up. I cannot make this up, y'all. I cannot make it up. If you study the game and you learn these charts, you are going to be able to print money. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be able to print money. So look at Star BZ. I'm looking to trade it if we close above 99.20. Also gap up. Let's look at Starbucks. Let's see what we got. So let's see what Mason talking about. He said 99.20. Okay. 88.20. Okay. So let's see where we at. Okay, so let's go to the daily. All right, so if we close above 88.20, oh, we gotta close. Okay, so it closed today at 88.11. Okay. Close above 88.20. Well, let me turn these Bollinger Bands off and my Keltner channels. All right. So I'm seeing a resistance right here of 88.45. So boom. Yeah, this is looking 80. All right, Mason, is it 88.20, 89.20? Which one you got? I'm seeing this right here. If we close above 88.45, because 89.20 is all the way up here. I don't see no real resistance. So yeah, I would say if we close above 88.45, then Starbucks could run up to 95, 90. Let's see this. Yeah, okay. It could run up to that 97 bucks, 96.63. Yeah. So yeah. And it's above this it's above the 50 EMA now, so it basically needs to hold above this 50 EMA right here and then get above here. And then boom, right? Get above here. And this joint could this is a nice swing, it looks like, though. Right? From 88, so from $89 to 97. That could change your life right there. You know what I'm saying? It may reach a little bit of resistance at this 200 EMA, but once it gets above there, boom. But it's already above the 9 and 21. It's in a current uptrend right now. We got three green soldiers right there. So it may pull back a little bit, and then it could bounce, and then it could go to the upside. But no, that looks solid. That looks like a very smooth play. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So, at the end of the day, it's about studying. All right, studying the game. Study your craft. Study this stuff. I used to think that it was so boring. But the people that study the boring stuff, that nerd out on the boring stuff, those be the ones that become great, world class, right? Think about it. The people that like only know basketball their whole life, the people that only know mathematics their whole life. You get what I'm saying? They are world class in that arena. The people that know how to play a trumpet their whole life, they are world class in that arena. They may not be the best at anything else, but they know that trumpet, they know that saxophone, right? They know that guitar, they know the arts, they know how to paint because they nerded out on these things. They nerded out on it. You got to nerd out on the charts. You got to nerd out on the charts. Because there's always, listen, let me tell you something. There are 1 million plays every single day in the stock market. There are 1 million plays every day in the stock market, right? There's 1 million plays, y'all, right? We ain't even worried about that. The real focus is learning how to nerd out long enough to where you become very proficient at the actual skill set. That's the real key. Right? Like, technical analysis is a game changer. And it's a life changer. Technical analysis is a game changer. Once you learn technical analysis, your life is going to be different. It's only a matter of time until you touch your first meal. It's only a matter of time until you touch your first 6 figures cash. It's only a matter of time until you retire your mom. It's only a matter of time until you become debt free. Once you learn these charts and how to read these charts and understand technical analysis on a high level, right? Once you learn that, I'm telling you, yo, the game is changed forever for you. It's changed for you. It's changed for your loved ones. It's changed for your family. Right? Technical analysis. All right? Don't run away from the charts. Do not run away from the charts. Run towards them. Them charts, they gonna help you get a lot of things that you want in this world, right? Obviously, the Most High, right? Chart, stock market ain't above God. But when we talking about from an earthly perspective here, right? That is a skill set. Them charts right there, that is a skill set that could revolutionize how you live your life and how you make your money. Okay? So yeah. Those are some ways that you can increase your trust within yourself and increase your confidence within yourself. All right? It starts off within boundaries. All right? It starts off within boundaries, them rules of engagement, your own personal standards of excellence, right? And not bending off of that. And then once you get there and you understand that, then we, went into what we went into. But and also another thing that I didn't say, but it's very important. It was kind of implied in the things that I said, but the power of repetition. The power of repetition. When you understand the power of repetition, you just gonna keep trying to, get in that bag of repetition and keep showing up consistently. Because the more reps you get in, the stronger and the better you're gonna become. Simple as that. Right? So repetition. In the beginning of my trading journey, I was taking like 3 to 5 trades a day, right? But I was getting exposed to a lot of lessons. And over time, I was able to refine everything. See what I'm saying? So, just understand that part right there, y'all. Yeah, for sure, Banger. It was a bear pennant. Okay. Yeah. Boring until you start seeing the move play out. Exactly. And you cooking up bands. Exactly. Trading should be boring. Yeah. Honestly, trading is not the most fun, like honestly. Because I always say this. You don't get rich in a day off trading. You don't get rich in one trade. The way you get rich is over time, right? And I also always say, you don't get rich overnight, you get rich over time, right? So if you learn how to extract 10, 15, 20% per day in the stock market, it's only a matter of time until you worth millions, right? So it's about the compounded effect over time. And that's why you want to work on your consistency. Because anybody could go make 20% in the trade once. But to have a system and do it consistently, if you can consistently be getting 10 to 20% per trade, over time, you're going to be making a lot of money. But you got to give yourself time to build that up. All right? But like I say, don't worry about them losses, man, because you're not alone. I done taken some real L's. Like some real L's. Real L's. All right? And I'm still here. Right? You got to learn how to fight through some shit. You got to learn how to fight through the bullshit. You got to learn how to claw your way out of being down. You got to learn how to get yourself out of that dark hole. Right? Straight up. If you get 10% a day, you're already rich. Exactly. It's simple. It's a simple formula. Swings will really get you paid. Nah, absolutely. Because you catch the whole move. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to really do nothing. All you doing is waiting for the move to pan out. So nah, swings definitely gonna get you paid. I love swings. When I see setups like that with Mason with the Starbucks it's just so many opportunities in the market every single day. But you gotta allow yourself to have time, right? Like if you got 5K and you got 6 to 12 months, you could get rich. You could turn that 5K into 50 to 75K in 8 months. You know what I'm saying? I jumped the gun on MU the other day on a put. Just got one contract. When it was 97, got scorched. Glad I went in light doing swing puts right now till confirmation. Yeah. Just wait till the confirmation, y'all. That's all you got to do. Wait until confirmation. You know what I'm saying? And y'all will be good. All right? So, with that being said, man, I really hope that this live helped you out. All right? If this live was helpful to you, let me know in the comments. Drop it in the comments. If this was helpful to you, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Yeah, but look, MU, AVGO, all them guys, they about to be dropping real soon. And I think the reason why MU ran up is because AVGO has earnings this week, and so it's in the same sector, so they're all gonna run up before earnings. But I think that whole sector is about to come down crashing, if I'm being honest. MU, TSM, AVGO is at all-time highs. They're gonna be coming down. If earnings doesn't do it, right after earnings, they're coming down. Nvidia is gonna be coming down too. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. So, yeah, because MU got a big gap to fill to the downside. You know what I'm saying? Same with Hood. Yeah. Hood is just going crazy right now. Had a pullback today, but it's going crazy. All right, for sure, Sean. For sure. Yeah, emotional quotient. Yeah. If y'all are not, be sure, man, to get that 7-day free trial and join that Discord, and come trade with us every day, and you know, come build with us, man. Right? It's even deeper than just a Discord. You know, it's not just about signals. You know, come build with us, come network with us. You know what I'm saying? Come build with us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're going to be in MU because now you know how to trade, Mason. You're going to be up in there. For sure. I appreciate that, Black Rose. All right. But all right, y'all. Kent said really helpful. Lets me know I'm on the right track. Man, you definitely on the right track, Kent. The fact that you just been on this live for an hour, right? You show up every day. You on the right track. Don't even trip. I want you guys all to understand, man, this stuff takes time, right? I always used to, stock options is the first thing in my life that I've really learned I can't rush, right? I used to always take the fast track to things, right? I always move fast in my life, right? Like I always move fast. I was always like accomplishing things fast. The stock market is literally the first thing that has taught me I gotta really honor that process. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. So it's like, Kent, man, you on the right track. Q-Tisha, you on the right track. Mason, you on the right track. Best Beezy, you on the right track. Sean, you on the right track, man. Black Rose, you on the right track. Right? I want you guys to really understand that you are on the right track. Just stay locked in. Stay tunnel vision. Stay tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? You are all on the right track. The fact that you spent an hour on your Wednesday, you could have been doing anything else. You on the right track. Right? Show up every day. Say your affirmations. Write your affirmations to yourself. Right? Say your prayers. Keep being disciplined. Keep being consistent. You on the right track. But the stock market, one thing the stock market gonna do, the stock market is gonna force you to honor the process. It's gonna force you to honor the process. I've had to be forced to honor the process. I'm so used to going fast. Now I'm going correctly. I'm going the right way. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. What's up, Mikey? Hey, Mike, you gotta watch the live over. I'm about to hop off. But this was a good one. You know what I'm saying? Mikey, you on the right track. I want all y'all to understand y'all on the right track. Man, for real. All right, thanks for your time. See you in the morning. All right, Mason. So yeah, we're gonna finish the week off strong tomorrow and Friday. If you guys are not, man, click the link in the description of this video. Be sure to join the Discord. Come trade with us tomorrow and Friday. Finish out the week strong, make some money, and then we're gonna go into this the first week of June. So we setting the tone for the month of June, right? Next week we gonna smack the market and we going crazy. All right. So I appreciate y'all's time, man. Like I always say, make sure you get up out of your head and go get into this world. because your head is a dangerous place to live, all right? Stop living inside of your head. And I always say, the more you study, the less you worry, all right? I appreciate y'all's time so much, man. I'm going to tap in with y'all. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow on tomorrow's video. Be sure to tap in, join the Discord, and I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.